It's Aho v Aho for this playoff series. We are previewing for the Islanders versus the Hurricanes. That wasn't a big enough mess up to restart. We'll roll with it. Anyways, I've seen jokes about how this is probably going to be one of the more boring series, and if I had to predict there to be a boring series, yeah, I'd probably guess this one. But there is reason to be excited to watch it, even if you're not a Hurricanes or Islanders fan. There are some very fast, capable players on both teams, and perhaps most importantly, a Sebastian Aho on both teams. Though, despite them having the exact same name, only one of them has the name brand power. Islanders Sebastian Aho is a depth defenseman, a respectable one, whereas Hurricane Sebastian Aho is their best forward and a good two-way forward at that, as most Finns tend to be. Anyways, you also notice if you watched my Winnipeg and Avs preview, I did not include the top 10 players in statistical categories between the two teams this time around, because, and I did mention in the last video that it does add a lot to the time of making the video when I don't have that much time, since playoffs start Saturday and they don't mean too much. They are important, absolutely, but I figure if I want to highlight a player and his amount of points or something, I can just mention it. But all the most important stuff is still here on the graph here, and as last time, we'll start on the left, which each number being categorized or colored coordinated according to how they rank with the best of the teams, with a deep red, which is seen here, being the worst in the league, and a deep blue, which neither team has, between these two being the best, and so forth. If it's a red, it's bottom 50, and it's a blue, top 50%. Both teams have been good enough to make the playoffs. The Islanders were able to squeak into the playoffs with Patrick Waugh as their head coach, which is kind of exciting. The story for the Islanders is kind of the opposite of the Leafs. The Leafs have no issue getting the playoffs. They have issues winning the playoffs. The Islanders have no issue winning the playoffs, but they have issue getting into the playoffs, and here they are. And we'll talk about their playoff history eventually. You can see their last 5 years posted there. I accidentally wrote 2020, 2020. I'm going to fix that while I continue. Both teams play, they don't play the same style, but they have the same strategy, but it's performed in different ways. One is far more efficient, one is far more physical. They both play a style that slows down the game to allow their goalie to make more saves, more quality saves at a higher quantity, because usually you kind of get one or the other, unless the goal is really, really good or really, really bad. But these goalies do like to give their goalies, or not these goalies, these teams like to give their goalies more chances to make a save, whether it's allowing a lot of shots like the Islanders do, but not as many slot shots, or just not allowing shots at all like the Hurricanes do. They do have a more efficient style, but we'll talk about the benefits of the Hurricane style as well. Throughout the season, the Hurricane style has not only been more consistent, but more helpful, helping them to 52 wins compared to the Islanders' 38. That's less than half their games they won, but they had enough OT losses, 16, to stay in the playoff hunt. The Islanders are not a top 50% team when it comes to goals for or goals against, where the Hurricanes are, most especially having one of the league's best goals against numbers. In terms of shot controls, Islanders isn't good at controlling the shots. Hurricanes are the best when it comes to controlling the shots. Just frankly elite, really. And then if you want to look at expected goals for and goals against, it's a similar story. These numbers coming from Money Puck. Though the Islanders do have a top 50% goals for expected, but it's still the same story. The Carolina Hurricanes have just been more efficient in that way, and that's kind of the story for a lot of these stats here. Except save percentage, the Islanders' save percentage is a bit better. The Hurricanes' save percentage has increased a lot in the last few months, to only be within 0.3% of the Islanders' save percentage. But Sorokin is a guy who can absolutely turn it on and take it over, and he's more capable of taking over a series than Frederick Andrews is in the likely starter for the Hurricanes. That's not to diss Anderson or say he can't. We've seen many goalies previously unknown have a great playoff run, including Aiden Hill. Just recently. So, and Frederick Anderson isn't unknown. He's been a good goalie, good starter for quite some time. But anyways, I mentioned their different styles, and that is most exemplified in the hits and blocks category. The Islanders are one of the better hitting teams with Cal Clutterbuck, who has nearly 300 hits and is one of the best teams at blocking shots, whereas the Hurricanes are league worst when it comes to hits and league worst when it comes to blocks. The thing for the Hurricanes, though, is that they haven't needed to hit or block because they just don't allow shots. They've allowed only 25.63 shots per game. It hasn't needed to be a part of their style. But what happens in the playoffs is that those hits also have a secondary effect, is that they tire you down. The Islanders are a team that isn't exactly built for an 82-game season, but they are built for a 7-game series. They can easily wear down another team. I say easily, quite loosely. It's still pretty hard, and it obviously takes a toll on yourself. So the Islanders do have some strengths here that the Hurricanes can't replicate. One strength that the Hurricanes have that the Islanders are incapable of replicating, like not even close to, isn't just shot suppression, but in the penalty kill department, the Hurricanes have one of the best penalty kills at 86.33%, whereas the Islanders had the worst on the year, just above 72%. Quite an ugly number, really. They did get 10 shorthanded goals, so good for them, but Hurricanes got 11. Their Hurricanes have also had 8 shutouts this year compared to the Islanders' 5. And with full credit to the goalies who got those shutouts were able to come a bit more often, a bit more easier because of their ability to just not allow shots. So that's just kind of been the story for the Hurricanes this year, and the Islanders' story this year has been bumpy, really. And I think for the Islanders to truly win it, it's to do something they're not comfortable with usually, is scoring a lot of goals or letting Sorokin take over. In the 4 games they've played this year, the away team won in each match. Both teams won twice against each other. The first 2 were in OT, where the Hurricanes won on the road in OT 4-3. Before the Islanders did the same against the Hurricanes 5-4. The Islanders won again in Raleigh, North Carolina 5-4. This time regulation, before the Carolina Hurricanes kept the Islanders under their thumb with a 4-1 win in their last game of the regular season between the two. So the season series is quite split. When it comes to postseason success, the Islanders' postseason success is notable, but not as notable or consistent as the Hurricanes because, excuse me, I got a cough and it's coming up any moment. Excuse me. I have some water. We'll be okay. The Hurricanes, in their last 5 years, they've advanced in the playoffs every single year when they do qualify, except when they play the Hurricanes. In the last 5 years, they've been eliminated by the Hurricanes twice. Once in 2019-20, when they were swept in the second round by the Hurricanes, and then just last year, I see what I did wrong. See, this is supposed to be 22-23, and so on. You know what? You get the focus out. I'm just going to talk about it. You don't need to see me editing it. So, I will edit it while I talk. I can double that. They're right. Multitask. So, sorry. Okay. I said I could multitask and yet I'm not, but I can. And so the Islanders have been very good in the playoffs except when they play the Hurricanes, and I think that's going to be the biggest indicator here of all the numbers and stats I put together is that the Hurricanes, even though they split the season series, have been very successful against the Islanders in the playoffs. Their own playoff history, they have not lost in the first round in the last 5 years, except against the Bruins in 2019-20 when they dropped the first round 4-1. They did win in the qualifying round though that year, because that was the COVID shortened season, not the 56 game season, which was the year after. This was the one that ended abruptly and had to have a qualifying round, which the Hurricanes did win. So the only year they were lost in the first round, they did still win a round. It was just a qualifying round. But as long as the Hurricanes don't play Boston, they should be good. They lost to Boston in 2 straight years, but that was 4 years ago now. So right now they're playing the Islanders. They can worry about the Bruins later. If the Bruins get that far, we'll look at them too later. So my prediction, looking at this, is I do think it'll be close. And both teams do have scoring talent that aren't given the opportunity to truly blossom like they're capable. I'm speaking mainly of Sebastian Aho with the Hurricanes, Svechnikov, and Matthew Barzal. There are some other notable offensive talents. Jake Gensel's addition has been wondrous for the Hurricanes. Absolutely. He certainly deserves credit for his point per game rate with the Hurricanes. But I think this will be more focused on who can force the other team to make more mistakes. And I think it'll also be important for the Hurricanes to win before it gets to Game 7. Because by Game 7, you're going to be pretty tired. And the Islanders, the way they play, the way they hit, it's going to wear you down. So even if the Hurricanes do surpass the Islanders in Game 7, they're going to be pretty beat up by the next round. And hopefully they can withstand it. They're not used to a hitting style. They are capable of it. Svechnikov is a capable hitter. Burns, though he's old, is a big guy. But it is just a concern I'd have for the Hurricanes. But focusing on the first round, I expect the Hurricanes to win this, not just as the better team or the better season or the better history between the two. It's all three of those and some more. So I do pick the Hurricanes to win the first round. You can tell me your thoughts. I think the Hurricanes, I'm going to say 5 games. I said 5 for the last one, and I'm scared to pick a sweep. I do reserve the right, because I'm going to do the bracket, the NHL bracket challenge, and show it on YouTube. And I do reserve the right to change how many games, because when I do a prediction here, I'm only focused on this series. But when I look at the bracket, I always want to try to choose a 1 or 2 or even a few more upsets and a sweep here and there. But I would say Carolina has sweep potential here just because they're such a much more better and efficient team. But if the Islanders can knock them out of their style, which is very hard to do, but the Islanders are very capable of doing that because of how much they love to hit and block shots, I think they can squeak a win or 2 out. But I'm going to say Carolina in... Sorokin could take over too. I'm going to say Carolina in 6. But there are reasons for Hurricanes to not just say this is going to be easy. They should never enter that, but those guys are professionals. I expect them to be able to understand that this playoff series isn't going to be easy. The Islanders may be easier than other teams they could have played, and maybe the easiest, but they're not easy. So that's it for this video. Once again, comment your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. I'm going to be pumping out more videos, more playoff reviews, and a game review for the last Oilers game tonight. Game 82. This is against the Colorado Avalanche. You can see those faster and sooner if you subscribe and turn on notifications. In the meantime, please leave a like. It's a huge help, and I will see you whenever I see you next.